Well, hello and welcome everyone watching to the opening stream of the SNCL. I'm Linus and I'm joined by God of X, the one and only.
Woo! I'm here, ready to present the new league, the the new goated league by Linus, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's the new project that me and Lena have been working on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I just felt like I wanna do something again, like do the things that I have fun with, like content and managing a league, and Lina also had that same thought, and that's why we partnered up and then also got some other people in um, to create the SNCL, which will start tomorrow and then go on for 6 weeks before taking a 2 week break and then heading into playoffs. Let me just put up the format real quick. So yeah,
Yeah, I have it.
we can
Ooh.
see it here. 12 teams. We decided to start a bit smaller at the start, and then for later splits maybe go up in numbers. Um, so yeah, it's Swiss system. For
Mm.
those who played SLE, they know it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Swiss?
Yeah, Swiss is nice. I mean, Swiss. Oh, I want to remember the Barak quotation. Like Swiss always guarantees the matches are interesting in the middle of the season, if that makes any sense. So like the matches you gain in the like middle of the split will always be very hyped to see because then they decide like the leader, which I really liked about the format. Like we have like a 4-0 team against a 4-0 team. It's always a very exciting match to watch.
I agree. I agree with that. But yeah, we will have best of twos. Six best of twos. One is per week. The default time is going to be 19:30 CT each evening. But you can reschedule during the week if you find a better time with your opponent. Actually, after we selected the games for the first week, you will see that there will be threads popping off with you and your opponent where you can start to communicate today. Um, but yeah, after those 6 weeks, as I said before, there will be a 2 week break. That has to do a bit with like the riot guidelines regarding tournaments, community tournaments. And after that, our second tournament, the playoffs, will start. Which you can see here, the first seed actually has the advantage that they can choose which of the bottom 4 teams, 8 teams make playoffs, which of the 5th to 8th seed they want to play in the first round. After that, the second seed can choose from the remaining seeds, and the third seed can choose from the remaining two, and the fourth seed gets whatever is left. And then you have a best of, like you have a double elimination bracket, just traditional how you know it in other tournaments as well. And you have like 4 series that will be best of 5. I think it's pretty clear, right?
Yeah, and I think let's see. So two teams start in lower bracket and two teams in upper bracket, I guess.
No, the first round is on the left, so every team starts in the same round, and then the winners go up to upper bracket.
Exactly, and the losers go down. Oh, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay,
So every team gets like a second chance. But yeah, why don't we go into the first team that we will present, which is Vecchi Dress.
here we go. Let me bring up. There are my notes. Yeah, I mean, this roster is what I know pretty well. I know all the players from this roster, even on the bench, excluding Detlef. I tried to find some info. I think I asked some people I knew from Sanctuary, but I couldn't find much about Detlef, so it's mostly a, I don't know, like a OPGG, a very raw. Like, I don't know a lot about this guy, so I can't say. But Vaiki has performed very well just having, like, I don't think Detlef has to perform extremely well. Like, I think this type of roster that Wacky Race has been playing with performs very well just having a stable top laner. So I think this roster is strong for sure. Personally, I believe in Lina supremacy. So I think if Lina plays on the main roster, it will be a stronger roster. But that's about it.
Oh wait, fuck. Uh, Let me just get the right one back. All right.
Yeah, I believe in Lina supremacy ever since we split 5 semifinal game. I believe it was.
Yeah,
Where
it
she
should be.
basically got Wacky Race at the final. So I think Lina is might be better than the Sejin, but that's a whatever take. I think this roster overall
Uh,
is strong.
I think she definitely is. I remember the Devouser incident back then.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just believe in Lina's supremacy. That's all it is, right? Like it's a completely subjective thing. So
Yeah. For
no
me, they
no
are.
no
Yeah.
no hate towards the Sejin. I won't say like nothing against him. It's just I believe in Lina's supremacy personally, but the roster, even with like as it is right now, is very strong still.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the history, like they played 2 SLE splits. One time they got second, the other time they got fourth. So
Yeah,
that was pretty good, and now they're back together. And I could really see them win the league if they have like a really good run and play consistently on the level that they could play on.
totally agree. Totally agree.
But yeah, going over to the next team, we have Shadow Phoenix. Shadow Phoenix is actually a team that's connected to the Silver Phoenix group, org,
Hmm.
whatever. It's their second team, if I'm concerned. There are a few players that I know from like different tournaments. Neon FGC, the top laner, and Amy Winehouse, for example. I believe both of them played either SLE or the Manta Cup. Of course, Topivity on the bench is a regular player in different tournaments, CWL, SLE. You probably know him.
Yeah, Pavity is the one I recognize. I gotta say that I love the name Peel Force One, especially if he's playing support. Golden name, golden name. Respect to this guy.
Yeah, it's actually a really good name. I also like their logo actually, like the phoenix over the
Hmm.
name.
It's
Um,
very clean.
but yeah, like I at the moment I see them as like a middle of the pack team. Um, I feel like the roster can be really good, but it also looks on paper a bit weaker than other rosters. Um, but Silver Phoenix has surprised me a lot in the past, both positively and negatively. So probably whatever I think right now is completely invalid in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
for me, like at this level that we're playing at, like I think it's diamond average in this league, or am I wrong?
I think it's low diamond, mid diamond.
Low diamond average, yeah, exactly. I think a really important factor for me, like you mentioned that I don't know if these players have played together in the past, but I think that's for me, like I don't know these players, I can't say obviously, but I think if you played before in the past, like Racker Race, it's like more important to me than someone having an outstanding OPGG, for example.
Yeah, I
So for
think
me,
this
like it's
team.
hard to judge just not knowing the players because I think the team play is very important. I think if you just make good plays as a team, which is something I think another team we'll talk about later is good at, that helps so much even if you're not like individually all like Faker.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Um, Someone wrote in chat, "I hear you so low. Is it normal?" Which one do you hear like on a low um volume? Me or Hex? Maybe you can write that down. Um, just one more thing I want to add. This team was formed like a week ago or something, like this roster.
Hmm.
So whatever you said
It's
about
kind of put together in a
long-standing,
hurry.
yeah,
Yeah,
long-standing
yeah, yeah.
teams doesn't
Well,
apply to them.
to be fair, maybe they've played together in the past, right? I mean, you recognize some of the players. It's even if they formed in a week, maybe they know each other somehow because they could like form the roster. Could be.
Yeah. All right. I made myself a bit louder. I hope now it works better. But yeah, let's go over to the next team, which is a staple in many community
The
tournaments with
goats,
like
the goats, the goats. They
that
still have
I
Ahlefeld. Okay.
establish. Yeah, what can you tell me about the Slimots?
Slim odds, like I personally like. I mean, obviously, okay. The way a lot of people in SLE view the so slim odds teams play in SLE, good to know also. But typically, people view them through a lens of like, oh well, it's Banrex carry or bust. This is like a typical thing that I always heard. But personally, like, okay, one thing is that SLE had over the last splits like way more higher elo rules or whatever. And then it's also harder to do that. But I think also Stoosh and Decoy are actually pretty goddamn good, personally. Like, I think they perform very solidly in team fights. Not the strongest laners necessarily. I think they're good at going like even. They don't smash enemy laners like Vanrex, for example. But in team fights, I think they're really good. So I think Ahlefeld last split didn't have the greatest showing. So I'm not too convinced yet about Ahlefeld. But the rest of the roster I think is just solid. And Vanrex, yeah, he still has the X factor. He can just randomly win a game on like Darius, Olaf, some of his signature champions. So I don't know. I think this is like I wouldn't say mid level, and I wouldn't say favorites either, but they're like high mid level if that makes any sense to me.
Yeah, I see that totally. I mean, Ahlefeld and Banarex are the two that stand out if you like played in the SLE. But I
Mm.
also think like everyone on their roster has like really good games where they perform to a level where they feel like they can beat anyone.
Mm.
That being said, like every single split in the SLE and every tournament they entered, like they played in, I think, two of my Pirate Base. Um, every single time I hyped them up. Every single time I was like, this is the split where they will show off, and every time they fell short. They
Okay,
barely
okay,
got into
fine.
playoffs or something.
You're caster cursing them. You're caster
I'm gonna
you have to
say
say
it.
they're gonna lose now,
I'm
and then they're
gonna
gonna
say
win.
it. I'm rooting for them this split. This is the
No,
one,
then they're
right?
gonna lose. You said you had high expectations, and then they lose.
They can handle it. Surely they can.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you out here, guys. I'm certain you guys won't make playoffs. See, now they're gonna win. It's easy.
All right. Let's
I've countered the caster curse. It's gonna be perfect.
all right. We'll see with that. So there's another team with a lot of history,
Mm?
the Snack Packs.
Good old snack pack. Yeah, solid top laner. Cyber top. Good at blinding. Has the Gnar pocket pick. Always been good on it. Can't see you. I don't know. I didn't really know who it is. I think Evo was the player I'm used to. Evo, filling the shoes of Evo, I think will be hard in snack pack. I guess for me, he was a very driving force in what plays they did. Sushi Killer, very good player. I think he's similar to Banorex, where he can play consistent, but also has this like X factor. I think he pentakilled on Cassidy at one point. He can like randomly just carry games out of nowhere, I feel like. Cupcake, Prioson, Cupcake, very good Caitlyn player. I think they're very good at Braum lane specifically, what I recall from Split 5. It's a solid roster for me. Like, I think this roster is a step above Slimbots for me, because they're like more a complete team for me, like in some sense. I feel like Slimbots has yet to find like a stable style compared to this team. But they've swapped out Evo, so I'm a little bit on the fence to say that they're like. I think if they had Evo, I could say like, oh well, this is gonna be a top level, like top 4, top 3 team, maybe. But switching out to jungler, I know can always be hard, like to find the correct synergy, make the correct plays. So I'm not 100%, but I think they're still gonna be good. I have faith they're still gonna be like a probably pretty good team, like top 6, maybe I don't know, top 5.
Yeah, I'm always feeling a bit conflicted about Snack Pack. Like with my old team, like Manta, they were like our main rivals. And there was a point where they won the Division 1, the regular season in the SLE. They won the Sanctuary Cup that we have once a year where all the Sanctuary teams play against each other. They won that in 2023. But after
Hmm.
that, it kind of went downhill, like really poor showings in like the SLE and in other tournaments. They also didn't make it that far. With Evo out, like he was maybe the best player or probably the best player in the team. That being said, I feel like the roster now has like a lot of fresh wind. Some of those players have been playing for like 5 or 6 years in that lineup. So
Yeah.
it's always good to change it a bit up. Um, I'm really excited to see if they can actually like play consistently on a level that they are capable of. Because oftentimes they have like 3 or 4 really good games and 3 or 4 really bad games, and everything else is in the middle, and then they just land somewhere in the middle. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like like you mentioned, consistency might be the curse that plagues them, because I feel like they always did fine in regular season, but you also have way more games in regular season. And then it's likely that if they went like inconsistent in one series in playoffs, it will maybe just drop out, right? Because you lose that critical series. So it might be what you're mentioning, that consistency is kind of what they need to work on, I guess, to really make it to the top in a sense.
yeah. By the way, I really like the new logo of them. It's kind of cool with the
Dude,
cobra.
I'm so happy they're keeping the quote. When I joined, like played first season in SLE, I love the "No Stepan Schnick." I still
Yeah,
love this
yeah. It's
this
really cool.
logo quote, or whatever you call it. I love it.
I agree. But yeah, let's go over to the next team, which is QTE Infinity.
Yes, this is mine as well. I mean, this was Divinity, right? I think Divinity. I don't remember the exact name
Divinity,
from SLE. But
DD and
they've changed out
Infinity.
some players. I think it's Rubin, Selil, and Daxon that are the original players from there. And I think they've
Yes.
swapped jungle and mid. And
Yeah,
they
they
were
did.
really good. At least from what I remember from sleep, they were really, really, really good at what I would say Black Flag Sailors were really good at. Like if you could destabilize the game, they were really good. Like playing side lanes, making chaos happen. They were not like your classical team fight team for me. Really good at like just making chaos, and then playing on side lanes. What I remember. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think a lot of teams in typically in Sanctuary we haven't played a lot of like side lane heavy styles. So I think they could do really well with that. I don't know the two new players. The original Ruben Sedlil Daxon was pretty good, like in my opinion. So yeah, I think this is. I put them about where Snackpack is personally.
Yeah,
They're
I think
around there.
that's a good
I don't
point
think it's like
to.
above or below.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to put them. I think they are at like the top of the middle of the pack. So like fourth seed or maybe fifth seed.
Yeah,
I don't think
totally
they
agree.
should struggle too much getting into playoffs, but I also think that maybe the roster is lacking a bit to actually go all the way and win the regular season, go get like top three in playoffs or something.
Yeah,
I
like
feel
there are
like
three rosters. Well, I haven't seen all of them, but Wacky Raves plus two other rosters I haven't seen are two rosters that I think are like the big boys, the top three in some sense.
yeah, I agree.
And I think breaking into those three teams will be hard, but it's possible. Like I think they're able to do it, but I don't think they are expected to in a way.
Yeah. Going from Infinity over to a team that will probably also not break into the top three. Uh, Never Ending Int. Um, they are the newest addition to the Sanctuary lineup. They've just formed like a few days ago, and to be honest, their roster is pretty weak compared to the competition. Like they have a gold player, I think they have like platinum, low emerald players, um, which might make it really hard to compete. On the other side, I know that they play like a lot of flex queue together, so they probably have like a lot of experience playing with each
Yo,
other.
respect.
Yeah, respect for them. And I also think that Living is actually a pretty good player. Like I've seen him on ADC before, and I felt like even in a worse team, he is always performing up to a really good standard. And Crazy Noob on top lane also has like some pop-off games. And I feel like the goal of this roster is not to win the whole league, right? Like I can't imagine that that's their goal, but they will probably try to upset the big ones a bit and play strong against the teams on their level. So I could actually see a reality where with the mid top lane they make it into playoffs and maybe kick a team out that we would expect in playoffs.
Yeah, like I mean, touching on the like flex queue thing, for example, I think the main thing that's bad for teams in this like in these types of tournaments is like when you don't practice together. You know, you go into the game, you're like kind of like uh, shaky in a way. I haven't practiced, so like EB for example, we were unable to play scrim, so we played a lot of flex, and it does help to keep you consistent. I wouldn't say it's the best at improving you necessarily. You do improve, but not the most optimal way. But it does make them consistent, right? Like I think this team will then be, if they play a lot of flex queue together, they're probably pretty like tight knit. They know what plays they're doing. They are very used to each other. So I think they'll at least be very consistent. And who knows? I mean, if they improve a lot over the split, maybe they'll upset a team. I think that's very possible. I don't know enough players, so I have a really hard time like judging the overall strength of the team. I can't really say, but I think them playing out of flex queue is a positive actually.
Yeah. But going over to the next team, we have Monkey Sports Veterans, the oldest team in the league. Like I think every player of them is on your age, X.
Wow. Okay. I didn't expect that from the
Uh,
interesting logo. From the logo feels younger than me, but hey, I don't know. Hey, maybe that's my genius.
I don't know. To me, it kind of feels like the hippies from like the
I
60s or
do
something.
recognize Patarina. I think.
Yeah, Paterina and also I think it's Sergio Ramos. Those are players that I'm familiar with. Paterina played on Cannibulans for a while, I think.
Oh yeah.
Um, and yeah, like this roster is coming in from the Monkey Sports organization. Um, I'm not quite sure what to think about them. Like on one side, like especially Sergio Ramos is like a really strong player. I think he and also the second player of their roster hit Masters. So they have like a really strong upside with two players, but they also have like the other players in like the lower ranks, which makes me kind of conflicted where to put this team. Like I feel like they could be a top team, they could be a middle of the pack team, and they could be like one of the worst teams of the leagues. So I really don't like I'm really going blind into this team when it comes to the regular season.
Yeah. I mean, what I remember, I think Patarina was a Katarina OTP. Am I correct in that? I'm not sure, but that is also hard, I guess, in a competitive environment. But Sergio Ramos, he was the best player of them. You said. I think being the jungler is extremely helpful if he is the best player Because in this meta with the new Atakan and everything, if you can play with your jungler, I think it's helpful. Yeah, chat is laughing at me. Apparently, I'm wrong. I don't remember. I guess I'm old as well, or whatever. But yeah, I think if your jungler is the strongest player, like on Snack Pack, for example, with Evo, it helps you to bring a lot of plays with your team. Like
Yeah,
it solves a lot of issues, I think, in a like smooth fashion. So
especially
I
in
don't know, could
competitive
be very good,
play.
especially
Especially
competitive play.
yeah, because if you get like if you give your team the timers when to play for which objective, that already can do like a lot against teams that are not that coordinated. Like the bonuses you get right now from like Atakan, as you mentioned, but also like the boots that you get when you get like three objectives and like a tower or whatever. Like that's just a lot of extra gold in stats that you get. And I feel
Mm.
like that's like jungle might be as strong as like ever this split.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Atakan, I think it
Yeah,
helps a lot to have like a focused, a playmaker, basically a good playmaker, if that makes any sense.
yeah. But going
But
over
yeah,
to the next team, which is actually the old team of Patarina, Cannibulans.
oh, Kanelbullen. Did I love Kanelbullen's dog? The Kanelbullen's dog, I remember, I think they did too well, but man, I loved seeing this team. I think Svullo, for one, is very, like, I think their bot lane overall, pretty solid. I also think Rob Gob, he played actually very well during the split. I think Rob Gob
Yeah,
for me has the same aura as when I watched Shy play. Like Rob Gob played really well in these games. They did lose some of those games, but he still played really well. And his team also played with him. So I don't know. I liked seeing this team the way they played together. Yes, they did have some, if I remember, weaknesses in lane, but this was for a different tournament. I don't know how much that will apply here. But yeah, I think this team, I don't think they're a favorite just because I think there's some of the rosters are stronger. But I think they're definitely middle of the pack. I definitely also think this is a team that for me could be, I don't know, they could probably upset some big name teams if you slack, so to say. If you relax too much against the team, I definitely think they can pull out a win against you.
yeah, and I mean, I know them for like 8 months now. The first time, like they signed up for the last SLE split, and I invited them to the Pirate Bay, the third one. They actually got third there, and then they played SLE, where they had like a lot of draws, like a lot of 1-1 games. And then an early exit in playoffs. And then also they joined for the fourth Pirate Bay, which was in December, where I think they didn't make playoffs there. Um, I th- I feel like every of those players had like one or two really pop-off games. Like Rob Gob was consistently on a good level. I feel like even in their losses, like he played a lot of tanks, but he
I
played
remember
them really
Moo Moo
well.
a lot. I remember Moo Moo. I have like
Yeah,
flashbacks to
yeah,
Moo Moo for some reason.
yeah, that as well. To me, Sidrani comes on my mind.
Hmm.
Um, But yeah, I have them as a middle of the pack team here as well, this split. I feel like they are not consistently like their
I mean, they haven't produced
consistency.
like a, they haven't produced super results yet, right? They haven't produced like a top two finals. They haven't produced any of those results as far as I'm aware. So it's
Yeah,
hard to put them as favorites, right? It's hard to put them all the way up there. But I have strong faith in this team. I don't know. Like I liked seeing them play. Like it's the same way when I watched Shy play. I knew that he would grow in some sense. I could
yeah,
just see that they would grow. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I have faith in this team.
yeah. I mean, I have faith in Rob Gobb, so that's also something. But you mentioned before that there's like three teams that you see at the top of the league.
Mhm.
So maybe is this one of them?
This is indeed one of them, and yeah, I don't know. This roster is just very strong.
Yeah.
So
So in,
Los Murdereto, my goat, the best trash talker,
yeah, I
the
love
Braum top
Loss is
laner.
so
I
funny.
hope we get to see Braum top lane if you're in chat, Los Murdereto. I hope we get to see Braum top lane.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Um,
For
but
those who
nice
don't
seeing in
know,
top lane. 7-4-1. Is this wait? This is your team. I'm trolling. Take it away, Lance.
yeah, you're trolling, but it's fine. For those who don't know, Invicta is a full Estonian roster. We had in different tournaments also the SLE. We had the Estonian community who was always really active and fun to communicate with. And Invicta is one of their rosters. It's actually not sponsored by the multi-billionaire Che, which is something I learned just now. Um,
Multi-millionaire
but yeah,
share.
I've seen Invicta in my last Pirate Base as well. They got into finals there and lost, but it's lost, so they lose. They are bound to lose at one point. Like lost doesn't win titles. But yeah, just look at the roster. Like you have Lost Moderator on top lane, who's actually a really good top laner in my opinion. Um, then you have Yasa, 3 Angry Inches, 741 in jungle. Like some people underestimate him, but I feel like he is probably
Yasa is a
the
strong
second
player for
best
sure.
player on that team. Then you have like the link stream boy and girl. I wanted to say girls, but Panzen is actually boy. But they have Panzen and Grelis on mid lane and on support, which I feel like they were always playing on a good level. Like even with Linkstream, who had like some struggles. Like the first split wasn't that good. I think they missed playoffs. The second one was actually decent. I think they finished like eighth or ninth or something. Um, but yeah, to me, the star players like it more. Like he was gatekeep from the SLE for over a year, and now he's coming back. And even though he's not on his main role, I have the feeling that Like It More is the star player of this roster.
I mean, like it more, like you say, I mean, he's a mid player, if I remember. He did have a crazy Yasuo as well, right? So then you have some cool draft flexibility. Because I also remember, I think Grelis, what I remember, I think most played enchanters. And I think if you have a mid player, you can play picks, like Senna with Shogath. You can play stuff like Yasuo with specific enchanters or knockups, right? Like you give a lot of flexibility to your enchanter player. I think if you have that type of champion, so I like that. I like that pairing a lot. I also like my boy Loss finally not playing support. He's up in top lane, way better I think in top lane than support. Did play well on support, but I just like seeing players stick to their role. And from what I know, Loss has been playing top primarily for most of his league time. And then
Yeah,
Panzer, like you
just
say, solid. He never, I think he never really lost lane at all against almost anyone. Like he was just solid. And then yeah, 741, also good player. So yeah, I mean, I think this roster just seems to me pretty goddamn stacked. If I'm honest, like a kind of, I wouldn't say across the board, but I think all these players hold their own weight, if that makes sense. And then they have like it more than 741, which I think are two standout players.
yeah. I I think they are like one of the favorites, as we said before, together with Becky Dress and one more roster. But yeah, let's go over to the 11th team, which is actually a full Italian roster. Epitome
What
Crash.
really?
Yeah, yeah. For those who don't
Let's
know, some
go.
of their players, I'm not sure which ones because like there are so many players on that team. They are the only team who used all of their 5 subs already. Like they have 10 players registered. Um, they played in the some of those played in the SLE on the team Crowings, which was I believe split 3 and split 4, so a long time ago. Um, one of their players, I don't know which one because it's so many, but like one of them messaged me half a year ago about joining the SLE, but the SLE already started. And I kind of, when I was looking for teams to invite to the Sanctuary League, um, I kind of remembered him and I texted him and I was like, hey, you're still interested? And like within a day, they set up a 10-player roster with like 4 staff members and whatever they have and joined the league. That being said, the roster generally, like they have a lot of players. There are a few of them that are pretty good from like what I could see from the OPTG, but I also think that like those are primarily on the substitute role. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure what to think about this team just because there are so many players and depending on which players will be the ones that primarily play, this team could be either like pretty good or like also like not good at all.
I mean, for me, I would say, I mean, I don't know, like you say, there's like two teams in here, right? But for me, touching again on the fact, like playing together, having experience together is important. I'm scared of the Vitagen situation where you have good players, but you keep swapping players in and out, and then you end up with no roster or like no synergy at all. So I don't know, I hope they stick with some set lineup personally. I don't know any of the players, so I have a real lot of time to judge their level beyond that. But I don't know. I hope I hope they have a set roster.
Yeah, I mean,
I
we
don't.
want to.
I personally just don't like when people swap in and out too much. That's
Yeah,
just me.
like that's also something we don't really want to encourage. Like we want teams to feel relatable. Like if you play against a team in regular season and playoffs, it should feel like the same team. So we actually have a rule that says you like of those 6 regular season games, you need to play 3 with main roster. And the other ones you can
Mm.
have up to 2 subs, but 3 of the games need to be with the main roster. And in
Okay,
playoffs,
okay.
you can always have one sub, but not more. So we want the teams to feel like they are the same teams, even if they sometimes have to bring subs in. So it's not they are not really able to sub people in every game and use like 5 subs in one game or something. So
Yeah,
that's
they can't
something that
switch a
we
rule like
limited
the
a
entire
bit.
five.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
can't switch all the 5 players in because it kind of looks like you said, it kind of looks like they have almost 2 teams, right? This is like I think it's very rare to see a team have 5 subs usually.
Yeah, especially at the beginning of the split. Sometimes they add up
Yeah,
during the split when they notice someone is short on short time. But yeah,
yeah.
let's
Then
go
it's
over to
like
the last.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
you
sorry,
can.
keep going, Linus. No, no, keep going,
I
Linus.
wanted to go to the next team, but if you have something left to say to this one, feel free.
No, no, no.
All right, all right.
Keep
Then
going.
we go to the last team, which to us is probably the last team that's in the top three.
There
Assassins
we
and
go.
Greed.
Yeah, I mean this is just a very strong lineup. I think they won. I don't remember if it's Manta Cup or the Black Flag Invitational, but I think they won one of those tournaments, if I
Pirate
recall
Bay, yeah,
correctly.
the first Pirate Bay was it that they won?
The first Pirate Bay, they played together for a long time. I think most of these players are all strong in their roles. I Won't Leash has probably the best virus out of most people that I've seen. Trouble Bubble, Zoe Pocket Pick, always a solid player on mages. Hui, Syndra, maybe good jungler. Wukong being very meta is also very good for maybe, because what I recall, I think maybe was a huge Wukong player. And Wukong in current meta, very strong. And Jordi just probably gonna destroy some people on Sunday. I don't know. It's just a very solid lineup to me. I mean, I've seen this team a lot. They're pretty consistent in the way they play. They all are strong players. This is like one of my personal what I think is probably the strongest lineup on paper. What I can know.
And I have a long history with this team because I basically formed Black Flag Sailors at the same time when I helped them form Assassins and Greed. And we played so many times against each other. We had multiple finals where we played against each other. We played in different leagues, always at like high stakes moments. And in the first months, they were like beating our ass like every single time. I think they like swept us 3-0 in the first Pirate Bay final. But then to the end of like last year, they kind of dropped off. Like in the SLE, they had a good regular season run. They got second, but in playoffs they fell short.
Mm.
They also got demoted from Division 5 in the Prime League, while our team and also Vecchi Reds are still in Div 5. I mean, my team is on pause, but I feel like this team has like a really high potential, but maybe because they play a lot together in like different tournaments, maybe they tend to not focus too much sometimes, and that's what loses them the playoff games, even though the regular season is always really strong.
Yeah, it could be. I also think AG. I mean, I don't know, but I feel like they're a team that doesn't scrim too much. So that could also be a reason why they don't really improve consistently in a way. So that could be. I also think some of the players and what they play, like of course, like if Trump gets one of his Zoe games, I think it's really hard for this team to know how that's gonna work out if Zoe is banned 90% of the time because they don't
Yep.
get to practice a lot. But then they get the Zoe, you take the opportunity. Maybe Trump Bubble is just Omega smurfing, or maybe not. Like it depends on if the enemy team knows how to handle a Zoe, which is also like you don't know. So I think there are some things that do bring them inconsistency. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but yeah, like you say, like I don't know. I don't know why they haven't been performing lately. Maybe they just haven't been playing a ton of league, but I still think this roster is very strong.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, we've gone through all the 12 teams. By the way, for those who are wondering, yes, that is a real picture of God of Hex. So face reveal here. Uh,
Face for me.
but yeah, we have some small segments, three segments that we want to discuss. The first one is our favorite to win the league. Do you want to start?
So I have like a two-pronged answer here. Okay, I think Whack Graves will win if they sub in Lina. Otherwise, I think Assassin's Creed wins.
Okay, so you're calling one of the two Sanctuary teams to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in Lina supremacy. They got them to finals last time. If they kept Lina in finals, they probably win because I believe in Lina supremacy. But otherwise, I think Assassin's Creed should win. Like, I don't, it's close. Like the Invicta roster is is also like it's close. It's very close. But I have strong faith in the Assassin's Creed roster. I will say that.
So your call is Assassin's Creed. My call is actually Invicta. I don't know. I have the feeling that Loss this time Loss will not throw it away. Like he will just let his team carry him. And I
Will
also
Lost
feel
throw it
like,
away or not?
yeah. I mean,
I
it's
don't
always a
know,
big
man.
question. Like
Dude,
it's more likely that he will, but I
but it's
kind of
not
have the
Lost
feeling.
if he doesn't fight. Like it's not him, no?
Yeah, but I have the feeling that he keeps it to a minimum this time around. I also have the
No,
feeling
there's no way.
like it
There's
more
no.
like it more and Yasa together, 741. I
Solid.
just feel like they are like a really good duo, and I kind of have the feeling that they would take the title. If they don't win
I,
the whole split,
uh,
they will win regular season.
I
So
mean, I respect that. I think I agree. Like Invicta, strong roster. I would say though, I don't think Loss will fight. Loss will trade. Loss is like Whippo to me. He will trade. He will fight. Like he.
yeah,
I don't think I'll see Loss play a style like Jordi or Case Maze, for those who know those players, like a solid weak side. I don't think that's Loss's style, personally. Like, I don't know. He might have, maybe he's completely changed after his support arc, but that's not the Loss I remember, so.
yeah. I actually noticed that we skipped over a team. Uh, that's my bad, I guess.
Ah, we skipped one.
So
What?
yeah, before we do this third and the second and the third of those questions, we will go over this team, which is extraordinary from Sanctuary. Um, yeah, they've
Yeah,
been like a team that's just been around for a long time. They played in every Manta Cup, which date back to like 2021. They played in nearly this lineup for the whole time. Only their jungler, Failer, is new. Um, and I don't know, they had a really good first tournament, and after that, nearly every tournament they played in was just bad, to say the least. With the exception of the Sanctuary Cup last summer, where they eliminated Assassins and Greed in the semifinal with like a huge upset. Um,
in no way.
that being said, they have, in my opinion, one of the best bot lanes in the whole league. Like Command DDoS is most of the time like a really, really good player. Like he sometimes ins away the most important games, but other than that, like he's one of the best ADCs in the tournament. And Vamarox is also a really, really decent support. Um, and the same goes for Levi Elisa pick on mid lane. Like I feel like he's uh above average mid laner. The
Mm,
problem for me is a bit the top side. Like both
top
Failure and
star.
Changed by Support are like gold to platinum players, in my opinion. Which against some teams that can just break your neck. Like if you play against the Geordie, and the Geordie just gets really ahead and you can't really do anything about that, that can be really
Yeah, I can
tough.
see that. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, let's see. Who are the tops that would. I gotta think about remembering all the tops. I don't know the new wacky top. I mean, I mostly know Jordi, so don't have. I mean, Loss is also there, but I also think Loss. I think Loss has the ability to do that. Yeah, I mean, Loss could do that for sure. Loss could do that
I
for
mean,
sure.
Banarex is also around,
Oh,
and
I forgot about the boy,
he
the
can
V.
definitely run over
Oh,
people.
that's a matchup I want to see though. That would be crazy.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah, I
god.
agree.
Because if they have, like you said, like Command DDoS, one of the best bot lanes against the best top side, and then
Yeah,
both decide snowball, that would be a crazy game to see. I would like that.
I
But
totally
yeah, like
agree.
I don't know all the players, but yeah, I guess I mean I've mostly looked at OPGGs. Yes, Chase by supports OPGG is not the strongest, I guess, in that sense. But
Kind of cursed, yeah.
I mean,
But
being bot sided is good. It's preferable, I would say.
yeah,
If you look at like for example, what we call Vitagen Diamond, for example, okay,
yeah,
being top sided is or being bot sided is good. So it has been the meta for quite a while. So yeah, I don't know. I think if you have a strong bot side, I don't know the rest like Failure, Levelisa, so obviously it depends if they're going for false support, they're for false support, but I don't know. Maybe this is one of the weaker teams. I don't really know the players, so
yeah.
I'd take my opinion with a grain of salt.
Yeah, but yeah, let's go over to the second segment, which is our underdog team. I will start here with my underdog for the tournament. And I kind of feel bad because we said it before, but to me it's slim odds, and I'm gonna curse them again. But I feel like slim odds, like every single time I was rooting for them, and every single time they fell short. Um, this is their tournament. Like Banarex
Completely
and
cast the
RFL, I
curse.
believe in them. I believe in them.
Completely cast the curse. It's over. It's over. Slim Mod's 12th place. Completely cast the curse. Nah, but
Yeah,
I mean, I see the underdog role though. In all, in more, what do you call it? In more seriousness, I see the underdog role. It makes a lot of sense, right? Like maybe they start popping off. They play together. Like maybe Spanrick starts hard winning against every top laner. What do I know? Like he could probably win against any top, right? So I don't know. I see the underdog role.
yeah,
I could see a road. I can see a road. Just like T1, I see a road.
yeah. So what's your underdog?
So my personal underdog to win is actually KBD, Canadian Stock. I think this if this like continued to play together from what I saw, I just like the way they played, like the way they macroed on this level. It was good. I like the way Robco played. Like I don't know, I like most things about that team. So I don't know. I have hope that they like continue to play together, continue to improve, and I think they will definitely be able to show up in this tournament if they have.
Yeah,
100%.
I think so too. Like to me, like the thing that always sticks out to me the most is the way that I communicate with the teams when I like organize stuff. And I know that KBD is always like they are really energetic when you are like, hey, I'm hosting something. They are like, yeah, let us in. And
Yeah.
also, I like playing against them was always fun. Like we played in the SLE and in both Pirate Base, and I felt like the games were always like so hyped. Like every team was just throwing their shit in. I also know that they sometimes can play way slower than that, but like they always matched our energy, which is always nice. Um, so I could see them have a good run. But yeah, the last segment is player to watch, and I think both of us had like have like two or three names here. Do you want to start
Mhm.
with yours?
Let's should we take like one each and then we go back and forth a little bit?
Yeah, okay, you can start.
So for me, so one player I've noted down is I mean I mean I've already hinted at it. It's obviously going to be Rob Gob for me. I think he played so well on that roster. Like he always made crucial plays for them to get ahead, even in game sets where like special. But also I remember games where he kept that snowball going. He really was pivotal. I feel like he felt for me like Evo for Snack Pack, if you can relate to that. Like he just drove that team forward in some sense for me. So I think Rob Gob is for sure a player to watch. I
Yeah,
really like. I don't know, I'm just super excited to see Rob Gob. I
yeah.
guess I'm just a super stan. I don't know. I'm just so excited to see this roster again.
Yeah, same. Like I think Rob Gob is a really great player to watch. Like he just feels like he like never hardens. Like every game you see of him, like he shines, even if the team gets completely slaughtered. Um, But yeah, the first, I have three players and I have them for different reasons. The
Hmm.
first player I have is actually Command DDoS of Extraordinary because I feel like he is the player that will probably most stick out the most from his roster. Because I feel like maybe he's even the best ADC in the whole tournament. That could be the case. And he's on a pretty weak roster. But somehow, even in tournaments where the team failed, like he just managed to produce like such good games. And I just feel like he could be someone who really brings this roster to a place where they usually wouldn't end up, and maybe
I
even
mean,
have run into playoffs.
I guess for if you know his sleep, I feel like he will, like the way you describe him. For me, he reminds me then of Strophic from Solaris, where Solaris would get to like game states that seem like impossible to win, and Strophic is just like, I'm gonna super glide, like
Yeah,
it's nothing, and then they
that's
just
a good
started winning. Like I
comparison.
remember, I think it was Assassin's Creed. It was Yordis Aatrox versus Strophic's Kog'Maw. It went like 50 minutes. They were just, it was like basically Yorda versus Strophic, and the team just supporting them, like being like,
Yeah, I remember
go,
that game.
like two titans. Yeah, it was a crazy game. I feel like I guess Commander Didos will have that same feel where it's like he'll just win a team fight almost on his own. Sounds very
Yeah,
exciting. I'm very excited to watch Commander Didos.
yeah, same. So what's your second player, and what's the criteria you chose him after?
So second player for me is 741 because I mean I've seen a lot of 741 from I think Cobalt Winds he's been playing. I just think I was very surprised when you said like people have been under. I think he's absolutely crazy. Personally, I think he's been playing so well for so long, and I think he should. Okay, I don't know if this is always true because I don't know all the players, but I think he is the strongest jungler. And for me, the strongest jungler is always a player you need to watch for. Like jungle dictates so much of the game that I'm just curious to see the how Invicta will move on the map with 7-for-1 on that roster. So yeah, I don't know. For me, I think 7-for-1 will be absolutely crazy. Not to speak of like, I mean, he has obvious pocket picks as well, like Viego, but I don't know. I think he's just really smart about the game in jungle.
Yeah, yeah. 7-for-1 is a really great jungler. Um, I've seen him in a lot of tournaments. I just always feel like there are like a few people who really hype him up, who are like, yeah, this guy is really good. But then there are also a lot of people who like don't have him high in any lists. Like when they do jungle tier lists, like he's on 7 or 8. Like that's which is always crazy to me. That's why I have the feeling that he's always underrated. But like, yeah, I also value him really highly. Um, yeah, the second criteria I had, like the first one was a player from a not that good team who will probably pop off. Now I have a player that I have as the most likely candidate to win the MVP, and that's Trouble Bubble. I just have the feeling like, especially in the last split, like he had so many great games. Like he's a small inter, but besides that,
He's a
his
small
mechanics are pretty good. His champion pool is surprisingly big. Like there was a long time where he was like a Zoe OTP and he could play nothing else, but it has gotten pretty big at this point. And I just have the feeling if Assassins and Greed perform, then either him or Jordy will take the MVP. And right now I'm rooting more for him, so I feel like he's the player to watch if you want to see the MVP play.
Yeah, I mean, I completely see it. I mean, I think his Hui, for example, has looked absolutely crazy when I've seen it. So yeah, I mean, he has other picks than Zoe. He has the X factor in Zoe, like the pocket pick he can always use, which absorbs a ban. Which we haven't talked too much about draft, but I mean that's obviously like a draft advantage, absorbing one ban at all times, or always having that like extra pick is always like a huge draft power. There are other players like that we haven't mentioned that also have some draft power in this sense, but I think that's also like a forgotten aspect of like if you're on OTP and then you learn another champ or like other champs, they're still kind of you almost never want to lean the risk of like, oh, do we give him his OTP or not? Like I remember who said it, but like I remember Trouble Bubble got Zoe once, and then someone was like, "How did we give him his overly champ or something like this?" And they were like, "Yeah, it was just demolishing the game. It was just a disaster for the enemy." So
Yeah.
yeah, I think even with him, like I don't know if he's continued to play Zoe a lot, but I still think people like they don't want to leave it open. So obvious draft power, good player, and yeah, like he's also a player that has historically been a little bit underrated. I think so. I don't know. I think Troll Bubble makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. What do you have as your third category
I
as your last player?
mean, I mean, my last one is not like my last one is not I mean, my last one is Lina if she plays. So it's like
All
if she plays
right.
the Voldemort Slayer or whatever you want to call it is my criteria, I
The
guess.
the Lena
I don't know.
glazing.
The one time we the it's just so weird to me. Like the one time she plays, they just win. I guess like one
Yeah.
of the
And she
teams
claps
that you thought were going to win
she claps the player that most
totally.
people
Yeah, but she
have as their
destroyed them.
best mid laner. Like a lot of people
Exactly,
were
the
like,
best
yeah,
mid
Wowzer is
laner.
the best mid laner. This is the super team this split, and Lena comes in and just claps him, and then there's like
Yeah,
the certain
exactly.
moment that gets the other mid laner banned from the
I
mental
mean,
damage that she inflicted. So
yeah, and I mean, I also have a lot of. I played like, quite a lot. Like some of the old EB squad plays a lot of flex with Lena at times. So like we're back, and I think she's a very confident player. Like she steps up in situations where I wouldn't see other mage players like really take a forward position, and I like that play style. So I don't know. I think if Lena plays, she's a player to watch if she ever stops it. But it's more of a obviously a mere yeah. Not like a. I
yeah.
mean, She's on the bench for us. So I can't really say it's like a player to watch. But if she plays, I think she'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, so my last player is actually I went a different approach there because I feel like you either watch the games because like friends of your play, or you watch it because you want to see the good teams, or you watch it because you want to have fun. And for me,
Mm,
the player to watch if you just want to have a good time is Los Moderator, because every time you
very
look
true.
up there, he's either inting, he's completely fighting the whole time and just making it fun to watch, or he's inting. So I feel like he's the third one. Like if you just want to have a good time, watch Los Moderator.
I completely see it. Like Loss is this player. Like he is like it doesn't matter what lane he's in. It doesn't matter if the matchup is winning. It doesn't matter if the matchup is losing. This man is gonna trade. This man is gonna fight to the last goddamn breath he has. And that is content, right? Like he's gonna fight. Like I would love to see Loss versus Banrek, for example. It's gonna be like the most bloody top lane ever. It's gonna be
Yeah,
some I don't know, Braum versus Darius, I guess. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be crazy.
that would be a really fun matchup. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like at this point, if you have any questions regarding anything in the league, you can just put it into the stream chat, and we will answer it, or I will answer it. But yeah, we are already at the last segment, which is the draw show, um,
Ooh.
where
Wait, so we're
we
drawing
draw
the
the
first
first
BO2s, I
week.
guess. Oh.
Yeah,
Okay, do you have any before we draw? I don't know if you plan. Do you have any matchups you would like to see? Like, oh, what was the matchup I was thinking about? I want to see Slim Mods versus what was Commander DDoS's team? Extraordinary.
extraordinary. Yeah,
I would like to see that matchup for sure. Is there any other matchups I would like?
Loss is saying, "Give me Linus or Banarex," even though I'm just on the bench. I'm just watching. Um, But yeah, like for me, one matchup that I would be really interested to see in the first week is Vecchi Vress against Assassins and Greed. Like I feel like
Mm.
the games that they had in the past were really good, and then Vecchi Vress last bit was not really playing in any leagues, and they like Bittner and Errad, like they split into different teams and whatever. And now they're back, and I just feel like that would be a banger. But if we exclude the Sanctuary Derbies, which of course have a significant importance to me, um, I actually think Slimots against KBD would be really fun to watch.
I would actually really like to see KBD versus Snackpack as well. I just want to see the level of like I think jungler is really interesting to watch always because they do the most map movements, right? Obviously laning is interesting, but I feel like at least when you spectate, like I think laning is personally super interesting. But in when you spectate or watch a casted league game, you rarely see like the entire lane, which is like what I like to see. But you can't really be watching like top lane or mid lane all the time, right? So I think jungler
Yeah.
is usually interesting, but I would like to see Robgo versus Snake's new jungler just to see. I'm mostly interested in the level of Snakepack's new jungler. I would say, like I think that would be really something for me that will dictate the level of Snakepack. So
Yeah. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and
spin the
randomize the
dice.
first opponents with paw spinning in the middle, our mascot,
Oh, it's
and
Slim
we
Odds!
get
Okay,
we
okay.
get
Wait, let me.
Slimots.
Okay. I need extraordinary now.
You want the extraordinary against
I
Slimots
want
matchup?
okay, extraordinary or Invicta. So Loss gets what he wants, right?
All right.
One of the two.
Let's
Okay,
let's
gotcha gaming,
see.
gotcha gaming,
Okay, Invicta
gotcha
has
gaming.
passed.
Okay,
It's
that's a good
Quantum
matchup though.
Infinity.
I like the matchup though. That's a very even matchup, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's
This will be a
that's
close
true.
game.
I feel like it could be, or like it's week one, of course. Like you have a lot of time after that as well. But I feel like this is a matchup. Like whoever wins this has a good path to playoffs, just because both of those teams will probably be at around the same seeds, fighting for the lower playoff spots.
Yeah. Like you will be closer to top four, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense, or top five or whatever it is. I can't count that one.
yeah, I agree.
Never
Okay,
ending
so
or
never ending int, yeah. So we have never
interesting.
ending int. Um, let's see who they take on first. I think one of the weaker teams would be a good start for one of the weaker.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. So we have the
It's
we have
also be a pretty close matchup, I think.
yeah we have the first Sanctuary Derby, and I feel like this can be really great because both of those teams will probably struggle a lot. And if you can start the season with a 2-0, again, like you just have a more comfortable place in the league. Of course, you play also
Mm.
better teams, but that means your pull odds rises.
Yeah.
Um,
The head to head or yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that can be good. But yeah, all the top three, all the big three, if you want to call it like that, still on the board. So
Which
maybe
team was
we'll
this
see
now
them
again?
compete. Um, yeah,
It's just the
epit-
Italian team, right?
that's the Italian team, Epitome Crash.
I,
So
I don't recognize all the logos.
yeah, it's fine. This logo is also like I
Oh,
mean, it's okay, but like I
completely
feel it's
unrelated to this. There's a
yeah.
team in a league where I played. They had two teams with the same logo. And the only difference was a dot.
Oh, that's fucked up.
It was
I wouldn't
impossible.
allow that.
I have no way of separating them. It's horrible. I mean, I am pretty bad like recognizing differences.
Yeah. Let's see what they play. They
Ooh,
play against
KBD. Man,
KBD.
we got some good matchups. We have all the what we think at least is the top three teams left.
Yeah. So we have 6 teams left. So
I
there's
think
still a chance that they don't play up in week 1.
Monkey Esports. Were they called Monkey Esports? What were they
Yeah,
called?
it's Epitome against Cannibals. That's the matchup.
Yeah, but I
Then we
think
have
in this
Monkey
roster with the
Sports.
teams that are left, with like Monkey might have a hard time here.
Yeah, I think the best call for them would probably be Shadow Phoenix or Snack Pack. That being said, like I feel
AG
like
or is this?
it should be AG. Yeah, so
Oh yeah, it's AG. Okay.
we get
Who are they playing?
AG.
Who are they playing?
So who's gonna face up against AG? Like this is the point where AG can start off really strong and show that
Invicta
they
would
want to
be
win the title.
Invicta or WAC would be such a banger matchup.
Yeah, and Victor would be a banger, but it
Ooh,
seems
Shadow
like it will
or
probably be
Monkey.
Shadow Phoenix.
That's also a good matchup. I'm excited. These are some crazy matchups.
Yeah, a lot of banger. I mean, if you have a small league and like relate to a lot of teams, like there will be banger matchups, but I feel like those are really interesting ones. So let's
I
see
mean, I
what the
love the
last
storylines, right?
2 ones will be. Okay,
Invicta.
Invicta. So it's Invicta. Let's see. I
I
just
think you're
feel
doing
like
a
it would
great
be
job, though,
cool if they
Linus.
get Vekivres.
Linus, I think you're doing a great job. So far, chat is not called rigged yet. So
Yeah, that's always good. But to be fair, like my own team is not playing,
oh,
so oh, it's Vekivres.
okay,
So it's
that's a
Wacky.
matchup too. God damn! I think all these matchups are kind of banger.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, like some of those Invicta boys, like Yasa and Like It More, and also Lost Mod Retro, like they had a really good split 6 in the SLE. They won the regular
Yes.
season, and then they got just clapped by Vekivres in the before
I mean,
double elimination.
we have to roll it back a split too, Linus. We have to roll it back a split to the 10K deficit games that no one saw that they lost. They had
Yeah,
apparently games in split 5 where they lost to Wacky with 10K up or something.
yeah.
So
I think
I
combined with
believe,
the if you combine the 3 wins, they were like 32K ahead in 3 games, and they lost all of those. But yeah, the
yeah.
last
So
2 teams we have Monkey obviously against Snack Pack, but of course I'm gonna roll.
spin
Yeah, Paul's
it,
probably
get
sick by now, just spinning around.
it.
Um,
I think all of these matchups are pretty close. Like I like all of these. I don't think one of these. I can't name you like a. I obviously think this team is going to win any of these matchups personally.
yeah,
Like I don't have a clear. I could predict one side to win, but I can't tell you it's like a higher like statistically than like 60-40 or something like that.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, those are the matchups that we have. I just feel like we have a lot of cool matchups. Like the highlight, of course, for me, Invicta against Ekivres, 2 of the favorites playing in week 1.
That would be big.
Um, yeah, and I mean, if you want to win the regular season and get first seed again, you can choose which of the bottom teams you want to play first round,
Mm,
to get into upper bracket. And I just feel like this game could already decide which of those teams will not make first seed. Because like this will
mm.
be really important for tiebreakers. And also with only 6 games, every single win counts, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's way shorter season than usual because it's only 12 teams. So
Yeah.
the games definitely start counting way earlier.
Yeah, I think so as well. Um, but yeah, like if there are no more questions up in the air, I think we are through with our evening schedule. Again, for those teams that have just been randomized, your matchups schedules should appear in the next 10 to 15 minutes, where you can start to argue with your opponent about when you want to play and insult them. No, don't insult them, but somewhat insult them if they are not cooperating. Um, everything else will be told to you in those tickets. Um, yeah, Hex, thank you very much for joining me one more time on those kinds of streams.
Super fun being here. Super fun being here. I am very excited. Hopefully, I get time to watch some of. I was obviously infamous last year for not being able to watch like any games, but hey, I hope I'll be able to free up some time to actually cast some of these games.
Yeah, that would
I'll
be
try my
awesome.
best to check out some of these games. I think they're gonna be, man. I actually should try, but next week I might be busy. I really actually want to look at the Wacky Race versus Invicta game to get a
Yeah,
taste
I
of
will
that
hit you. I will hit you
10K
up when.
game.
Yeah.
That'd be
All
crazy.
right.
I feel like this game is too long. But yeah, sorry, I won't be up too long.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We are on exactly 1 hour, which is nice. Yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you very much for joining me, Hex. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this first split of SNCL.